14-1, France rack up a record score against Ireland. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. Ireland did start this game on the front foot. They were retaining the ball, kicking well. They were looking much improved from last week against Wales. But then a couple of penalties allowed France to work their way upfield. Got some really strong carries from them, get them into the 22. Then to get close, and Forlani is able to go over. Ireland really couldn't cope with the power of the French there. Conversions missed from pretty much in front. It's 5-0. Ireland, the falling off tackles, allowing France to exit their 22 after the restart. Arbez then kicks long. Behan completely misjudges the flight and bounce of the ball and gets caught out by a wicked bounce. Bourgeard gets there first, kicks it through, dives on it to score. It's another easy conversion that is missed. We're at 10-0. And then you're already feeling like it's going to be a long afternoon for Ireland in this game. Ireland then have a great passage of play. Got some really good carries from Friday, Monaghan, Dugang. Get them within a few meters of the line. Then, lacked a bit of patience. They spread the ball out to the backs when it wasn't really on, get isolated and turned over. There was space, but where they were passing the ball to, that was where the French backs were concentrated. And again, it just feels like they need a little bit more direction in terms of someone to spot that space and make sure that the ball gets there. But, this Ireland team, they're not at that place yet to be able to do that. I feel like they need calmer heads. Could have exploited that, but wrong option selected. But it was still, somewhat encouraging for them. Then Deshay catches Nickerbird with a high hit. It's shoulder to head, driving up in the tackle, so there's no mitigation. She gets a red card. France down to 14 women. O'Brien then pops the penalty over for Ireland. It's 10-3. France, from there, though, after restart, they're looking to add to their score. Lots of big carry again. Nickerbird gets in there, is able to rip the ball. France knock on. Ireland's scrum was a bit of a worry against Wales. Last week looked more solid today. France, though, are holding on to the ball again. Ireland once again falling off tackles. Arbez chips over, regathers, gets them on the front foot. They then work their way close to the post. Forlani breaks the line and then puts Bourdon over to score. Borghese then takes over the kicking duties and she converts it from in front, 17-3. Ireland, looking ponderous in possession at time. Scuffle McCabe, she takes too long to get the ball back to O'Brien from the back of a ruck. Bourdon is able to charge down O'Brien's attempted clearance kick. She regathers and scores. Conversions is missed. We're at 22-3. As the game goes on, you really are seeing like the gulf between these two teams at the moment is becoming more and more evident. Ireland, they concede a penalty. France kick it up the line. They go to the maul. Maul all day was making yards against Ireland. There was only a couple of times when they were able to halt it. They break off from that. We then have a line break and Bernier is put over to score. Conversions missed, 27-3, and that's our halftime score. Into the second half then, Ireland, they're on the attack, but they're not quite looking fluid and they knock on. But a little bit more encouragement to actually drive the French off their own ball and win the penalty at the scrum. Then they try to maul it, but get completely shunted back by the French. The French, though, do give away a penalty at the breakdown. Ireland decide to call for the scrum from the pen. They put it through the hands. Grace Moore with a strong carry. Wall then another good carry for her. Ireland then, they just leave the ball sitting at the back of a ruck. There's no 9, nobody playing line, and completely lose momentum. From the next phase then, France are able to get in over the ball and win a penalty. And it was like Ireland not really thinking on their feet when, 9 has been drawn into the ruck or beyond the ruck. Nobody's is taking responsibility to get in there and move the ball quickly. They're just letting it sit there and kind of looking around to see who's going to go in. There's just no, there seems to be no kind of togetherness from the team. That will come in time, but at the moment, it's very evidently missing. Ireland, they're good in flashes, but when, as I said, people have to fill in or think on their feet, they're just far too slow. Ireland defence, though, looking better in the second half. France are still making ground, but Ireland, they're competing well at the breakdown. Grace Moore then goes on a real barnstormer of a run. O'Brien from that then kicks in behind and Bourgeois knocks it on. It's a good attacking position for Ireland, but then they get isolated after a poor pass from Swords. It's a penalty to France, and then they get marched back because of a bit of chat from Swords. France mistouch, and then Ireland, they have a chance to to come back at them, but they give away another penalty. Then a third penalty in the sequence allows France then to kick into the corner, and Ireland, like so many chances with like turnovers and France missing touch and stuff, but now they're on their own line. France from the line out, Mala in field, and then Sochat goes over to score. It's converted for 34-3. O'Brien then, not too long after, her clearance kick gets blocked down again. France, another good attacking position for them from the line out, because it was basically charged down and then knocked into touch by an Irish player. They maul it close, and then they get it out to Benet to score in the corner. Conversions misses 39-3. Then Ireland have another period of possession. Initially, they're making some ground, there's some decent carries in there, but eventually they become static, and Dalton just gets absolutely smashed as he gets, the ball and the tackler at the same time. There was nothing really she could do about it. The pass was a little bit high. She had to, reach up to get it, expose her ribs, and just got absolutely blasted out of it. But it just shows poor kind of pass selection and just overall poor play from Ireland. France then, they're on the attack again. They're threatening the line. Deely gets a yellow card for pulling Benet back by the hair after she, had beaten her on the outside. France then work a gap out wide, and Bernier goes over in the corner. Tremoulier converts from out wide. We're at 46-3. Ireland then try to run the ball out of their own 22. Offload goes to ground. Rifanu, she picks up the ball, breaks up the middle, doesn't have the pace to, get there. So she's looking around for support. She's got support on either side. Offloads the ball in the shadow of the posts. Ireland almost turned the ball over at the ruck, but they knock it on. France then, off from the scrum, they drive Ireland over the line in the scrum, and then Escudero is the score. And that was kind of, I think, a bit of a statement for France, where, Ireland had been opting for the scrum at times, and obviously France didn't like that, and just kind of put down a marker there with that one. Then Ireland, kind of late in the game, they win 3 penalties on the edge of the French 22, some just outside, one inside. The first 2 they decide to tap and go, and then the last one they go for the scrum, and it just felt like it showed such a lack of belief in their line-out and their maul that France in the same position were kicking to the corner and they were getting tries out of it. Ireland just had absolutely no confidence in their ability to do that. In the end, then Dalton passes the ball into touch, and that's the game. Unfortunately, I'm recording this right after the game, and for the Women's Six Nations, the stats won't be out for, I don't know, another couple of hours or maybe tomorrow. So I can't bring you any stats from the game. I'd love to do it. The other games, I'll probably cover them a little bit later after the games are finished, so we will have some stats for that. But in terms of the teams then, Ireland, they've improved from the game against Wales, but this was a record defeat against France, and that kind of tells you how bad they were against Wales, that this was a step up from them. So often, like, passes were either a little too high or too low or behind the receiver, and just stripping them of any momentum in their carry. They were very hesitant at times. There was slow service from 9 as well, and no real kind of, they just need someone to take control and direct traffic, and I didn't feel like anybody was really doing that for them for most of the game. There were some green shoots in terms of, like, obviously good fight from the players. It's not like they're not putting in effort. It's just that the ability, cohesion, and probably natural talent as well just isn't there compared to this French outfit. Players with some good contributions. They, look decent at times, but often, like, decent moves will break down from, bad decisions or just poor skills or execution. This is a very inexperienced Ireland team. Some of that is absolutely self-inflicted, because, like, a lot of experienced players who spoke up about, how bad the situation was in terms of support from the IRFU have been frozen out, and it means that because of that, a lot of inexperienced players have been included in the squad for the Six Nations. But it's clear that whoever they're going with in terms of personnel going forward, they absolutely need more support and investment from the IRFU into this team. France, by contrast, were so slick, like, didn't miss a beat when they went down to 14 women. So powerful in the carry. Maul was a real weapon for them. Great line speed and big hits in defence as well. They march on now to what looks like an inevitable showdown with England in the final round.